but we had the two sectors that are not in red, ironically, also didn't make any gain because we have the ASEM finishing at 0, and then we have the growth sector in the week also finishing at 0. But that will not deter the oil and gas subsector from riding high in terms of the direction of yield to date, standing at over 61%. And that itself means a big one for the market. But let's summarize 2005 to 2022 in terms of the performance of the sector. First, we can say that no sector, 3 years, ironically 2020 to 2021, was able to do what you probably consider as finishing all-round positive, but that is not the case for the downside, because 11 sectors, like I mentioned, out of 13, they dropped in 2022. This itself is against 8 sectors out of 13 in 2021. But sectorially, you also will find a situation where the oil and gas had 8 times negative in 17 years. And ironically, 2020 and 2022 were also part of the year in which the market had the oil and gas subsector closing negative. Similarly, we had a situation where the banking and finance subsector also had 6 out of 17 years closing negative. And ironically, after the drop in 2018 and another in 2020, the market had not, the banking sector had not had an opportunity of being down in 2021, and in 2020 and 20 had they had the opportunity of being down in 2021 and 2022. But for the insurance subsector, that also had 6 climbs in 17 years, which also means that that sector had been much more under the table than being above it in terms of the direction of the index. Having gone up in 2009, 2010, and 2011, it didn't come back until 2016. But when he also came back in 2016, he had 2016, 2017, and 2018. So the pattern is do 3 years, go on break, do another 3 years, and go on break. That is for the insurance subsector. But let's then look as to how all of these affected in terms of the direction of development as far as the market is concerned. First, we can confirm to you that in 2018, Notori was listed, and Notori that was listed at 62 naira 50 kobo has remained at that price since 2018. So for 4 straight years, Notori had not had any price change. If you then look at what happened in 2019, we had Food Concept doing a right issue, and that right issue was at 62 naira. Food Concept in 2022 was able to pay a dividend, was able to propose a dividend of 4 kobo, though that dividend will be paid in October. But one of the things that you also hear investors say, this is better, even late payment is better than no payment. But for MTN, that was also listed in 2019. The interesting thing with MTN is that for the 4th consecutive year, MTN is basically building up the number in terms of final dividends. Having done 2 naira 95 kobo in 2019, the dividend moved to 3 naira 50 kobo by 2010, by 2020, but by 2021, it was doing 4 naira 55 kobo, and by 2022, the dividend, interim dividends, all of these will be 5 naira 60 kobo, and that itself is heartwarming for some investor, considering that the share price when MTN came to the market was 90 naira. But in 2016, livestock feed had a right issue and had a second in 2017. In 2016, the right issue was at 1 naira 10 kobo as against 75 kobo in 2017. Currently, the company is trading at less than 1 naira 50 kobo in the market. But in 2014, we can also confirm to you that Sovereign Trust Insurance, that is also hoping to be in the market to raise another 1 billion, interestingly did raise 1.1 billion in 2014, and by 2022 it will be back in the market to raise another 1.1 billion. But let's then close this segment on the note as to what results in 2022 is also indicating. First, we can confirm to you that Guinness basically got stoutish, declaring a 7 naira 14 kobo dividend for year ended June 2022. Surplus is doing an interim, again, a 2.5 cent US dollars. Custodian, since 2014, is done an interim. The interim for 2022 is going to be 10 kobo, while for Como, will be declaring a 7 naira, while C&I leasing is out of the hook now, haven't had the technical suspension on the company lifted. So that is the summary for market development and performance for the week ended 29th of July 2022. But it's also important to note that the month of July did finish negative, but the last trading day of July did close positive, but August started on a red note. Again, we take another break.
Mimi, where's your mommy?
I struck out.
A major part of being a parent is being present.
Where's your mommy?
For the little moments that make all the difference.
Where's her mommy? Now you.
To the biggest achievements that shape their future.
And the winner is Mimi Idris.
This is why the AXA Life Insurance Plan is designed to take care of you, so you are there for the moments that matter. Stay in the picture and be the parent you want to be. Call 0700 AXA Mansard today to speak to an AXA financial advisor.
There is a reason Africa is called the new frontier. What was once potential is now an opportunity ready to be seized. Once revered for our resources, today's wealth lies in our people. People who build the cities that shape the future. People who know an idea in one place means business in another. A generation for whom technology means there are no borders, no boundaries. We are the new lions in a brave new world, kings of the urban jungle. And there's a bank that puts the world in our pocket and the future in our hands. UBA, Africa's global bank.
My name is Wale Kadri. I'm the Executive Director of Technical ICO Insurance PLC. ICO has been in existence for 55 years and we have track record. In this market, we are known by a lot of multinationals. In terms of claim settlement, in the industry, they know also that settle claims within 24 hours, within 48 hours, because we have the financial muscle and we have the technical skill, capability to do it. In terms of branch network, we have presence in so many states. We also give them best of services. So that's what we stand for as ICO. We are always there and there's a claim from our clients. We've been supporting various businesses for a long time and we'll continue to do that.
You're welcome back. From all the indication, we still have challenges having to share the graphics with you. But that notwithstanding, again, haven't told you that it is better to have 4 kobo dividend approved in July, but payable in August better than no dividend. We also think that it's better to share some of the materials with you without graphics rather than have no show at all. So talking about the market, let's start with how the NASD, which is the OTC market, fared in the week. First, we can confirm to you that that market, interestingly, did a counter of what the NGX did. While the NGX went down, the OTC market rallied to a 2.1% climb, and that basically helped the yield to date of that market to close at 5.41%. And ironically, 2 companies did drop price, but the counter basically came from 3 other companies that had huge run in the direction of the north. CSCX went down by 1 kobo, as against NASD going down by 20 kobo, and both of them had their market capitalization drop by less than 1%, with CSCX closing at 14 naira 91 kobo and NASD closing at 17 naira 95 kobo. But City Trust Holdings PLC did move up by 90 kobo in the week, and that basically meant a 9.5% appreciation to close at 10 naira 40 kobo. While for Niger Delta, he added 1 naira 22 kobo to his share price, and that helped it to close at 211 naira 22 kobo. And in terms of market capitalization, he did add 0.6% to his market cap. While WAMCO post 1-for-1 bonus now close at 104 naira 50 kobo, having gone up by 10 naira 36 kobo in the week, and that also meant adding 11% to its market capitalization. But if you're interested in how well they did in terms of volume and value, we can also confirm to you that CSCS happened to be the most bullish in terms of supply to the market, and there was then followed by NASD, City Trust, Niger Delta, and WAMCO taking the rear. But in terms of value traded, Niger Delta, again, courtesy of his high price of over 200 naira, did lead in terms of value, and then allowing CSCS to take the second slot, and WAMCO finishing third, NASD and City Trust taking the rear. But on the NGX, only 13 companies appreciated price, again to tell you the size of pressure that the market had to cope with in that week, notwithstanding that the market closed positive on the last trading day of the week. But this number itself has 15 companies basically gaining price on the last trading day of the week. So the whole week, only 13 companies appreciated share price. But given the rally on the last trading day of the week, we had a situation where 25 companies did pick up prices. And this itself had Unity Bank, interestingly, finishing 13th. Don't forget, 13 companies did finish on the chart. 12 companies rather did finish on the chart, and Unity Bank that finished 13th, having gained 1 kobo, to also appeared on the gainers chart in the week. But NGX rallied to a 90 kobo gain, and this is largely as a result of the 1 naira 5 kobo gain on the last trading day of the week, and that helps it to reverse not fully the 1 naira drop that I posted the previous week when it finished 6th. NACO went up by 50 kobo rather, 1 kobo better than the 40 kobo that Union Bank posted. But it's also important to mention that Union Bank would not have been on the chart but for the 50 kobo that I gained on the last trading day of the week. NACO itself was coming in from a 2 naira 80 kobo drop that I posted the previous week when it finished at the worst performing stock. But that itself was largely as a result of the adjustment for the bonus and the dividend. UPDC rates also went up by 15 kobo, 5 better than NASCON, while FCMB went up by 8 kobo. Same for Fidelity Bank. FCMB earned 2.7% improvement in market capitalization, while Fidelity added 2.6% improvement to its market capitalization. But for Fidelity Bank, it also did pick up a slot on the top 10 following the 28 kobo gain that it posted on the last trading day of the week. Just like Sterling Bank that finished ninth, also did pick up a slot following the 6 kobo that it gained on the last trading day of the week, because the whole gain in the week happens to be 5 kobo. Cornerstone went up by 3 kobo, while MPF Microfinance added 7 kobo to the share price. On the downside, that had 52 companies dropping in price, and you begin to understand the magnitude of the pressure that the market had to cope with in the week. The 3-point drop would not fully have explained the size of drop, because Nestle, even in that week, did go down by 137 naira 70 kobo. Though at the end of trading today, we have Nestle basically trying to do a comeback, and that comeback we'll be sharing with you in the course of the program, so we don't mix it up. The same thing, it probably will be necessary that we share with you. We share all of those with you now, because Nestle, like I mentioned, had a rally at the end of trading today, to then go back literally to where it was coming from, because it went up by 37 naira to close at 1,300 naira. For MTN, that gained 14 naira 90 kobo at the end of trading today, to close at 215 kobo. In the week, it had done a 28 naira 90 kobo drop. And we also had a situation where Stanbic IBTC did finish a distant third with a 3 naira 15 kobo drop. But what is also important is that Flour Mills Nigerian Breweries also dropped 2 naira 50 kobo and 2 naira 5 kobo respectively, while PZ dropped 190 to shed 18.3% of its market capitalization, having dropped by 90 kobo on the last trading day of the week. While for United Capital, that went up by 1 naira on the last trading day of the week, he ended up finishing with a 1 naira 60 kobo drop to finish 8th, ahead of Cadbury that dropped by 1 naira 70 kobo. Julius Baker was down by 120, while Adova, or former African Petroleum or 40 Oil, was down by 1 naira 5 kobo. Don't also forget that even in the week under review, we had only 13 companies dropping in price on the last trading day of the week. And in all, we have 12 companies doing over 12.5% appreciation in their market capitalization. But at the end of trading today, that had 19 companies climbing, we also had 9 companies dropping. But the big droppers, and I use the word big, but when you hear the figure, you begin to understand how big was the big. MGX dropped by 60 kobo. That meant it will be opening the market tomorrow at 21 naira 25 kobo, while UBA that dropped by 15 kobo. And those are the two biggest drop in the market today. Every other one was less than 10 kobo. But UBA will be opening the market tomorrow at 7 naira 5 kobo. But let's also mention that the month of July, the drop in the month of July 2022 happens to be the worst performance in 2022. But when we return after this break, we'll be telling you much more as to how well July has done. Please stay tuned.
What kind of nonsense with this? Now no one chop. See as customer boku for this place. Don't be the same business we do. Huh? Understand me?
Oga, no be Dangote 3i cement then they use.
Don't you tell me? You tell me say one cement better than another one? No be it our cement we use for this block. Eh? Ah! Who set this block? Who set this block?
You see why I tell you now say Dangote 3i cement now Baba e get extra strength, better yield, and extra life wey dey tey well. No take your money buy problem o. If you want better, buy Dangote 3X cement today.
Dangote 3X Cement. Build with peace of mind.
For 3 decades, people world over have improved their health and well-being by its rich ingredients. A unique blend of essential amino acids, multivitamins and minerals specially formulated to combat stress and fatigue. The golden promise of Astamine is being enjoyed by more and more people who have found the deepest secret of living life at its peak. Astamine. Get healthier.
Welcome back. And if you just join us, the program is Talk and Share. One of the things that you are likely to liken to this presentation is basically to say it's one face of a two-coin presentation. Again, it's better to have one face or better to have one eye than have no eye at all. But looking at the month of July, we can confirm to you that July did drop by 2.79%. Like we mentioned, this is the 6th time in 12 years that the market is taking this drop. But what you will find is a situation where, as against a climb in 2020 and 2021, 2022 did drop. Ironically, before the climb in 2020, back-to-back, we also had a back-to-back 2018-2019 drop. And then thereafter, before then rather, we had a situation where 2017 did close positive. But 2014 to 2016 are 3 years of being down. But what did the sector bring on the table in July of 2022 is what we think that we should also share with you. Yes, the all-share index, which is the broad index, did drop by 2.79. But you also will find, ironically, that other than the oil and gas that closed July 2022 positive at 2.01, as well as the main market that closed at 0.26, and then the growth sector that closed at 0.74. Every other sector was on their bellies. NSE 30, we already told you that in terms of size of drop, that the month of July 2022 is the worst between January and July 2022. But he didn't take that title alone. Because he had the sectors also taking title that is also emanating from what the big picture had showed. Because the NSE 30 that dropped by 3.57, ironically, there is also back-to-back negative, and the third drop in 2022, that again turned out to be the worst performance. If you then look at the consumer subsector, dropping by 8.13%. Again, another back-to-back, June and July. That performance again turned out to be the worst in the 7 months of 2022. And he had dropped 4 times. That sector had posted losses 4 times in 7 months. If you then look at the banking subsector, but the sector did escape, but that wouldn't stop it from dropping by 4.92%. And this is the third time back to back. May, June, July, the banking subsector has posted red. If you then look at the insurance subsector, because we're basically at a looking process, that's basically what this section will be indicating, or this subsection will be indicating, because the insurance subsector posted a 6.32% drop. Again, another worse. While the industrial subsector that went down by 4.1%, again, another drop. But it's important to mention that the oil and gas subsector that closed positive did close negative in the month of June. So it didn't pick a back-to-back in terms of being negative. Lotus dropped by 3.33%. Again, that turned out to be the worst, having picked up a back-to-back drop as well. While the pension subsector and the premium subsector dropped by 5.54% and 6.71% respectively. Again, with a back-to-back, and the performance in the month of July happens to be the worst. And if you then look at the corporate governance index, that dropped 6.25%, 3 back-to-back, if you like, and the fourth time that is dropping in 2022. Again, this turned out to be the worst performance. So July was a month that had plenty of red. But all of this red did not come as a surprise if you also followed how the companies themselves has performed. First, we can share with you that in the month of July, only 17 companies appreciated in share price. This is against 26 in the month of July. Don't also forget that even July itself did close in red. But Academy Press rallied to a 45% appreciation, 45.75% appreciation. This itself is as a result of the 58 kobo that he gained in the month. But the previous month of July, he had dropped by 5 kobo. Initiate gained 8 kobo in the whole of the week, the whole of the month rather, of July. But given its low base of 40 kobo, that fetched it a 20% appreciation. And every other company in that in the month basically did below 20%. John Ho did 18.6%, Learn Africa did 15.5%, Computer Warehouse did 13.75%, and then the other class of 10%, Seplas 10.05%, Airtel 10%, and interestingly, Seplas 10% came from a 130 naira 50 kobo appreciation, which itself is a far cry from the 10 naira 50 kobo that it gained in the month of June. And in that month, it did finish 24th. While for Seplas in June, it was down by 38 naira 80 kobo. So Seplas is a returnee as far as the top side is concerned. But it's also important to mention that E-Transat finished 4.5%, Cornerstone 4.2%, Champs 4.2%, Linkage did finish 3.85%, while Wema Bank finished 3.1%. But Wema Bank gained only 10 kobo in the month of July, as against Linkage gaining 2 kobo, and Champs that also picked up a position did pick up. Champs did pick up a position of 1 kobo, and that basically fetched it 4.2% in the month. If you then look at the next chart that I will be sharing with you, which is indicating the worst stock position, what you will also find, talking about worst stock for the month of July, which will be coming, okay, what you will find is a situation where at least 5 companies dropped over 20%, and we had the others basically picking up the crumb. But can also assure you that United Capital was not left out of the top 20, finishing at 12.9% drop, Eternal dropping 12.7%, Lasaco dropping 12.6%, and Consolidated Hallmark Insurance dropping at 12.3%. Let's basically close this segment on the note as to how the market capitalization also did finish. This will have been an interesting one, but given that we don't have the chart, because what you will find, were we able to show you that chart, you'll find a situation where just two companies basically having to be displaced in the month. Every other company in the top 9 are basically retained their position as at June. And that is also leaving Airtel with a almost 7.2 trillion in terms of market capitalization, while Dangote is standing at 4.5 trillion in terms of market capitalization. MTN 4.1 trillion, Boas Cement 2.35 trillion, and Nestle doing 1 trillion in terms of market capitalization. Every other company is basically doing below that. But one of the things that is possible next week is that under the breaks, I will share some of this material with you. And it's also on that note that we'll take another break. When we come back, we'll try and share with you what the market is saying in terms of the two companies on parade talking about corporate results. Please stay tuned.
Hello, I'm Ziva, the Zenith Intelligent Virtual Assistant. What would you like to do today? I can help you open a Zenith bank account, check your account balance, transfer funds to any bank account in Nigeria, restrict transactions on your account, log dispense errors and other challenges, buy airtime or data, and so much more. Simply save the number 0704 000 4422 on your Alert Z phone line and say hi to me on WhatsApp to get started. Thank you.
Welcome back. Let's quickly look at the two companies on parade talking about corporate results. Again, no company is small as far as the program is concerned. So we'll be looking at Global Spectrum Energy Services PLC. Again, we hope that we'll be able to share that chart with you. But one of the things that you'll find in terms of top line for Global is that the top line moved from 1.6 to 2.5. While the profit after tax moved from 121 million to 183 million. And the earnings moved from 15 kobo to 22.8 kobo. No dividend, no bonus, but the waiting period has also moved from almost 28 years to a little over 12 years. So for the company that's had a low of 2 naira 50 kobo, it's also had a high in terms of share price at 3 naira 78 kobo, though currently standing at 2 naira 75 kobo. Ironically, in 2020, the share price did close at 419 kobo, and that the price was repeated for 2021. And like I mentioned, currently standing at 2 naira 75 kobo in 2022. For the second company on parade, which happens to be C&I Leasing. C&I Leasing is off technical suspension, while Global Spectrum is hoping to get delisted. But for C&I Leasing, the top line also did go up from 17.7 billion to 18.5 billion. But the profit after tax dropped from 166 million to almost 53 million. And that basically explains why the earnings of 21 kobo dropped to less than 7 kobo by 2022. And 5 kobo dividend in 2021 can certainly not be repeated in 2022, as there is no dividends and no bonus either for both years. but the waiting period had climbed from 22.4 years to 47.4 years, which means that there's a doubling. But let's also not forget that the share price of the company in 2020 was 5 naira 20 kobo, dropping to 4 naira 20 kobo by 2021, and then closing at 3 naira 20 kobo in 2022. So if the company was to maintain this trend at the end of, by 2023, it probably will be, at this period of the year, will be 2 naira 20 kobo, because that is the common denominator. Again, we take another break.
For every uncertainty that life presents on a daily basis, there is only one cover you can be sure of: the Sovereign Trust Insurance PLC cover. We have all it takes to give you the assurance that life can be perfect, even in the midst of uncertainty. Come under our cover today and put life's uncertainty behind you. Sovereign Trust Insurance PLC. We've got you covered.
I live for my friends. I will always be there for them through everything, especially the big moments. That is why I'm happy with Alert Savings Goals. It helps me save more and meets my expectations. My name is Anita and I use Alert.
Alert, powered by Wema Bank.
Showing you the graphics, it basically controlled the transaction that was done in the month, rather in the week. This itself means that the company is coming back to life, because with new investor in place, International Energy may be able to recapitalize and get back to community of insurance company that are able to pay claims. But for the company of the month, which is the next chart that I will be sharing with you, is to also say that for City Trust, and that chart will come any moment from now, City Trust Holding was listed 2 months ago, and City Trust was listed at 5 naira 50 kobo, and at the end of the month of July, it had gone up by 4 naira 90 kobo, which means 89.1% appreciation. But let's quickly mention that in the month of July, all that the company did was just a growth of 80 kobo, and that also meant 8.3% appreciation. But in total, haven't done almost 90% since the company got listed. City Trust Holdings basically won the company of the month. And it's also on that note that we want to especially thank you for this abridged version or visual version of Stock and Shares, hoping that next week we'll be back better and stronger. See you next week, and God.
Have you been disconnected because you didn't link your national identification number to your MTN number? Don't worry. If you already have your NIN, here are 5 easy ways to reconnect. 1. Dial *785 hash. 2. Text your NIN to 785. 3. Use WhatsApp to chat with Ziggy. 4. Use the My MTN NG app. 5. Visit mtn.ng/NIN. Whatever method you choose, make sure you get a confirmation message. If you don't have an NIN, simply visit www.mtn.ng to book an appointment, or just walk into an MTN store NIMC center near you. What are we doing today?
I used to care for the world's opinion. I used to fear their rejection. I used to beg for validation, and I used to wait to be seen. But the fire that burned in me was hotter, and the passion that lived in me had a voice of its own. So I stopped waiting and started to act. I stopped fearing and started to live. And when they thought I'd fail, I stepped into my power.
Because my time is now.
Amstel Malta, be your best.
Honey!
Daddy, please, can I go out with you and Mommy tonight?
Sure thing, sweetie. Get your shoes and we go.
Promise?
You have my word.
Daddy!
You know I wouldn't leave without you, my princess.
There's nothing more important than a promise. We are Fidelity. We keep our word.
you